I am High Strategos Vorak Thaler, Supreme Commander of the Zorathian Empire's Grand Armada. For 3 cycles, I have led our legions to victory across the Spiral Arm, subjugating 17 species and incorporating their worlds into our dominion. Our warriors, the Kethvar, bred for war. Each stands over 3 meters tall, armored in living carapace that deflects plasma bolts, wielding claws that rend duristiel, and minds linked through the hive echo for perfect coordination. No foe has ever stood against a full cohort of Kethvar and lived. That is why. When the upstart species called humans refused our ultimatum of surrender, the Council of Overlords laughed. Their world Terra, or Earth, as they call it, was a Class 7 deathworld, barely unified, with primitive fusion drives and no known psychic linkage. Their ships were mismatched relics, their ground forces a patchwork of tribal armies. Intelligence reports described them as fragile bipeds, prone to infighting with lifespans barely a fraction of ours. Send the Kethvar, the Overlords decreed. Let them crush this insect hive and claim the planet's resources. I selected the finest, the First Legion, 10,000 elite Kethvar, under Warlord Drakesel. Veteran of the Vix campaign, where he alone annihilated an entire armored division of the silicon-based Krather. They dropped from orbit in assault pods, landing on the human continent designated Europa for minimal resistance. Reports indicated sparse population and weak defenses. The last transmission from Drakesel was triumphant. Ground secured. Human forces fleeing, beginning extermination protocols. Then dash silence. No beacons, no hive, echo pings. Not one pod responded. We waited a cycle. 2. Scout drones sent to the surface returned images of scorched landing zones. Shattered Kethvar armor scattered like broken shells, but no bodies. No survivors, no humans in sight. The Overlords demanded answers. I dispatched the 2nd Legion, another 10,000, this time with orbital support from the battlecruiser Dominion's Wrath. They landed on the larger continent, Asia, where human military concentrations were highest. Warlord Kreshver reported initial success. Human armored vehicles destroyed, cities bombarded from orbit. Then, a fragmented message. They adapt too quickly, heading in ways we static. Again, nothing. Orbital scans showed our forces vanishing into urban sprawls and forested regions. The battlecruiser's captain reported anomalous readings. Human ships, primitive as they were, somehow evading targeting locks and launching countermeasures that jammed our sensors by the 3rd assault. Panic rippled through the fleet. I committed. The 3rd and 4th Legions, simultaneously 40,000 Kethvar. The cream of our empire, supported by 3 full armadas in orbit. Target the human heartland, North America. The drop was flawless. For the first hours, reports flooded in of overwhelming victories. Human armies routed, their aircraft swatted from the sky, their primitive projectile weapons bouncing harmlessly off carapace. Then the tide turned. It began with small unit reports. Humans using terrain illogically, ambushing from impossible positions. Prisoners know they fight to the last, then vanish. They're laughing. Why are they laughing? Warlord Thalkor, S. Final broadcast, pieced together from fragments. These are not warriors. They are demons. They heal from wounds that should kill. Improvise weapons from debris. They predict our moves. Even without the echo, one of their kind, a single female, destroyed an entire phalanx. With a vehicle made of metal wheels and combustion engine, she charged through our lines screaming words we translated as "get some." Orbital imagery captured the impossible. Kethvar cohorts encircled and annihilated by vastly inferior numbers. Humans using guerrilla tactics, turning our superior coordination against us by sowing chaos, jamming frequencies, deploying decoys, striking supply lines with pinpoint sabotage. One reconnaissance feed showed a captured Kethvar warrior, the mighty Drakesel himself, bound and interrogated by humans. Not tortured, questioned calmly, offered water and food. He broke, revealing fleet positions. Humans, it seemed, understood psychology better than we ever credited. The armadas in orbit fared no better. Human ships scobbled together from civilian and military hulls employed tactics straight from madness. They rammed our vessels, boarded them with suited figures wielding magnetic boots and handheld breachers. Boarding parties of Kethvar, invincible on ground, were outmaneuvered in zero gravity. Corridors by humans who fought like they were born in vacuum. The Dominions. Wrath fell when a human carrier launched waves of tiny fighters upside by. Our standards that swarmed defenses, sacrificing dozens to deliver one torpedo to the core. By the end, not a single Kethvar returned. 50,000 of our strongest, gone. Kyr armadas crippled or destroyed, we retreated. The Empire's pride shattered in the aftermath. Intercepted human communications revealed the truth we had overlooked. Humans are not a warrior species by design. They are survivors of a death world, where evolution favored adaptability over specialization. Gravity twice our norm forged bones dense as alloy. Atmosphere thick with toxins built resilience. Predators and catastrophes honed ingenuity. But more than physiology was their mindset. They call it HFY, humanity. Duh, fuck yeah. A mantra of defiance. Their soldiers weren't the strongest, fastest, or most coordinated. But they were stubborn, creative, willing to die, not for glory, but for each other. They turned weakness into strength, improvisation over rigid doctrine, humor in the face of doom, mercy that broke enemies psychologically. One human general. In a broadcast we later translated said, "We didn't win because we're better warriors. We won because we had no choice. You came to our home. We fight dirtier when it's home." Overlords convened an emergency session. For the first time in centuries, the Zorthian Empire sued for peace. We offered tribute, non-aggression, pacts. The humans accepted graciously, but with a warning, don't come back uninvited. Now as I dictate this record into the archives, marked for all future strategos, I understand we sent our strongest soldiers against humans. Not one returned. Because humans don't fight to conquer, they fight to endure. And in endurance, they are unmatched. The galaxy will never be the same. The story unfolded across vast battlefields. Let me recount the pivotal moments that sealed our doom. The first landing on Europa. Drake's legion descended upon a human city called Paris. Ancient structures. Narrow streets perfect for our phalanx formations. Humans fled initially, their police forces offering token resistance with chemical-propelled slugs. But then, from sewers and rooftops, came the counter. Civilians, non-combatants, joined the fight with improvised explosives. One human, an elderly male, detonated a vehicle laden with fuel beneath a Kethvar squad, vaporizing 20 elites. Drakesel pressed on, raising districts. But humans melted away, reforming elsewhere. They used snipers, lone warriors, with scoped rifles, picking off officers from kilometers away. Disrupting the hive echoed by nightfall, exhaustion crept in. Kethvar are tireless, but humans, they thrived in darkness. Using primitive night vision and thermal tech scavenged from our wrecks, the Legion fractured into pockets, hunted relentlessly. In Asia, Kreshvar faced mechanized human armies. Tanks wheeled and tracked behemoths charged our lines, their main guns penetrating carapace at close range. But we adapted, swarming them with claws. Humans responded with air support, rotary wing craft raining missiles, then ground troops with anti-armor launchers. But the real horror was their special forces. Teams of 10 or fewer infiltrating camps, silent kills. Sabotage.1 report. A human operative. Calcine Ghost eliminated an entire command tent alone, using a blade and suppressed firearm in North America. The Grand Assault. Thelkor's legions landed amid vast plains and mountains. Humans met them with combined arms. Artillery barrages, softening lines, then infantry assaults. But humans employed blitzkrieg, rapid advances we couldn't. Counter in urban centers like New York, street by street fighting favored. Defenders who knew every alley, Kethvar. Built for open battle, bogged down. Humans used psychology, loudspeakers blaring taunts, Music that disrupted concentration. One infamous incident, a human battalion, outnumbered 100 to 1, held a bridge. They repelled wave after wave, using Molotovs, mines, and sheer will. Their commander broadcast, "Nuts." A historical defiance. Orbital war turned when humans deployed stealth. Submarines launching hypersonic missiles from oceans 70% of their world water. Unassailable to us. Boarding actions. Humans in exosuits matching our strength. But with flexibility, they fought dirty. Flashbangs, gas, traps. Many Kethvar surrendered, thinkable lured by promises of fair treatment. Those who did were repatriated later. Broken. Speaking of human kindness in captivity, the Empire learned, strength alone means nothing against adaptability. Unity and the fury of a cornered deathworlder. We thought we were apex predators. Humans proved the galaxy wrong. Humanity. Fuck yeah. And we, the mighty Zorath, slunk away with tails between legs, metaphorically. Of course, never again will we underestimate the fragile.
Op-eds.
From Soul-3. This is the lesson etched in blood. Provoke humans at your peril. For when you send your strongest not one returns,